What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked In Sports Podcast. I'm William Locke, and joining me as he does for every Major League Baseball podcast is Luis Barranco. Luis, it was a crazy day. It's been a crazy week. Honestly, I feel like there's been enough news across Major League Baseball to probably, serve as enough content for 3 episodes, but we got to get it all in today. It's been an insane week in baseball. How you doing?
There's a reason we're on here at 9:45 here Eastern Standard Time, and I'm wearing a turtleneck. I'm not in common podcast attire. William has called the bullpen tonight, and he brought out the closer. And we're going to talk about some big trades. I mean, we couldn't wait till the morning to record this one. We want you guys to have this one for your morning ride tomorrow into work, into the office, into your next team's call. You know how it is. So it's trade deadline day. Big day happened. I mean, Columbus Explorers was today. We'll talk about the Explorers later on in the podcast. Man, but it is such a great day to be on pod. Like I said, he called the pen. I was in doing other was at another event tonight, but William was like, "We got to do the pod," and I was like, had to leave the event I was at tonight. Had to excuse myself.
I didn't know this. I was not aware. You said you wanted to hit record tonight, so I feel like we had to. I had practice, but like you said, we normally record in the mornings. Or if we record in the evenings, it's a little bit earlier, 7 o'clock Central usually. But we're going late night tonight because we had to get this one in everyone's feeds for the morning commute. Because it's one of the biggest days of the year. And to be honest, this trade deadline freaking delivered, man. Like I was a little worried waking up this morning, but then I saw the Eugenio Suarez trade happen overnight. Certainly yesterday during the afternoon, I'm like, when are these trades going to start rolling in? And yeah, today was just bonkers compared to the past few seasons where it's been pretty tepid at the deadline. Today delivered and then some.
I like tepid, but I mean, hey, you got to be ready for that team's call. The team's call tomorrow morning in Chicago is going to be like, what the hell happened with the Cubs? What the hell happened with the White Sox? I got to be ready for my team's call. What the hell happened with the Marlins? I got to be ready to speak to the people of Mr. Papa Bendix, a.k.a. Papa Bendiciones. What did he do today as a general manager of the Marlins? People are asking, what is Bendix going to do? We got to be ready. We got to get the people what they want. Got to get them for the morning. We had to end our activities tonight, our functions that we had. You had a coach. I was out and about, and we're here tonight. We had to come in tonight. It's warranted. We've never done this before. We've never recorded this late. We're going to go past William's bedtime. So you understand the pod. You understand the podcast you guys are going to get tonight is going to be an all-timer. It's going to be a top 3, top 5 in the Locked In Sportscast.
You're acting like it's 2 a.m. It is still 8:45 Central Time, but that is late for me. I'm usually in bed by about 9:30, so whatever. That's fine. Let's get to it. They don't care. They want to hear about the trades, and there were plenty of them.
They do care because they care about the weather. Because we had a comment again. I'm noticing this again. There's a guy that's like, stop talking about the weather. But hey, we're not going to talk about weather today. We're going to talk about trades. How do we feel about? You said tepid at best. Today's deadline was straight fireworks. You know what it felt like? Katy Perry firework, 4th of July, big moves, big moments like Big E's. It was cracking. Like everybody was on the phones. I think every single team in the majors made a trade today. Like I think everybody did. What team didn't make a trade?
I mean, even the Rockies, the White Sox. Yeah, I don't know. We're probably missing somebody, but I feel like every single team made a trade. The bad teams, the good teams were all. Did the Phillies officially make a trade today? Maybe them. I know they had a huge trade on Wednesday night.
They did make a trade. Bro.
They did. They did make a trade. Yep.
It was like the Rizzler. It was boom, 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 left and right, my guys.
I know it was Pass and all the reporters were working overtime. We had Mike Deportes, not his best. He said he got hacked. We love Mike Deportes on this show. He had some great scoops in the offseason. He was in on, I think, the Soto stuff pretty early, but today is like the Super Bowl for the sports reporters, like the Passons and the Heymans. Obviously, you got the offseason. That's a little bit more dragged out, but the trade deadline where it's like confined to one day, these guys, they live for it. And as a fan, of course, it's awesome. The trade deadline, people flying around. You're seeing what teams are thinking internally. Are they going to give up on the season? Like the Twins. We'll get to the Twins. Oh, boy. Might as well put a Spirit Halloween sign up outside their stadium.
Can we call Joe up mid podcast to see how he's doing? Is he doing good, or are you on the death row meal right now, the prisoner death row meal right now?
I think Minnesota fans have officially turned the page to JJ McCarthy and the football season, which we'll see how that goes for them this year. But yeah, I mean, where do you want to start? You want to talk through the biggest moves? I mean, I'll let you kind of drive here because I know you.
I live for this.
You live for this stuff. Yeah,
I live for this. Can we talk about who had themselves a day? And I was reading and I was thinking, like, who had themselves a day? Can we give a round of applause for Ken Rosenthal? Ken
Rosenthal. Okay.
Ken Rosenthal. We thought Ken Rosenthal was dead yesterday, but Ken Rosenthal got on a heater. It's like Passan and Rosenthal are kind of like Woj and Shams, in my opinion. With Shams being Passan and Rosenthal being Woj. Everybody loves Rosenthal. If it comes out of Rosenthal's mouth, it's 100% true. Passan's kind of like Shams, back and forth. And Passan was having himself a heater. Like, we're talking, he was going and going and going. But Rosenthal, he came up and threw the fastball yesterday, 100-mile fastball with the Jhoan Duran trade. Where was I yesterday? I was at Run Club. I was about to go to Run Club. I was walking to Run Club. And I get the Jhoan Duran. I was like, oh, boy, my phone's about to just vibrate through my thigh the whole freaking time when I'm running my 3 miles in 100-degree weather. Like, this is going to be an incredible running scene. You had Rosenthal who did that, and then Passan had himself a couple of heaters. But, I think out of the reporters, I wanted to ask you, who had the best deadline?
I mean, Passan was live TV, ESPN, tweeting, and doing the show. Was Rosenthal live on Foul Territory? He probably was. They weren't live.
They were live, but they had Eric Kratz and AJ Przinsky, and then they were bringing out like local guys. Like they brought in the San Diego local guy. I didn't watch much of it. I thought, all in all, I don't want to sound too negative because it's a great day of ball, but I thought the trade deadline coverage on the respective media platforms could have been better. ESPN was okay. I don't have MLB Network, so I can't speak for that. Foul Territory was so slow because like they were talking about trades that happened an hour before, 2 hours, and they were just going back and back and back. Bleacher Report was a little bit too big market centered, in my opinion. Like they had my girl from Baseball for Baddies, Kate, and then they had the Mets guy they were just talking Yankees, Mets, and then Houston, and then San Diego, like the big, like where was the love for the small markets? So
I was on ESPN. I thought they did a good job. It's tough, I feel like, to do one of those shows because one of your, I'm sure they got the producer in their ears saying who's all these trades that are flying out the door, and then you got, like you got one eye on the trades, you got one eye thinking about what you're going to say. It's just a little bit challenging. Your brain's working in different ways. But yeah, I didn't watch the MLB Network. I didn't have that one pulled up. I like I said, I had ESPN, but yeah, I thought it was fine. It was fine. It was, it's one of those things. I was kind of just refreshing Twitter the whole time. And you got notifications on, of course, for Passan and all those guys.
So let me ask you, between Rosenthal, Passan, Nightingale, and Heyman, who rank them? Who had themselves the deadline? Who do you thought had themselves the deadline this year?
Passan, Rosenthal, 1-2, and then third, I'll give it to Nightingale, and then fourth, Heyman. Heyman, I like Heyman, but he had one. It was the Bednar trade where it was already like had gone official. Passan tweeted it out, and then a couple like minutes later, Heyman tweeted out that the Yankees are getting close to an agreement with Bednar, and it's kind of like, it's already finalized. I don't know. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things if you get a scoop a minute before. Like, there's such a rush to be the first person to report it these days. It's a little weird dynamic. Not my area of interest. But I thought Passan, he's class. They're all class. They all do a great job covering the sport and growing the sport too, which is obviously very important. I think we should get into the trades.
Let's do that. And I wanted to start out with the big trades. Let's start out with the big trades. I'm going to go through them, and then we'll discuss them and go through it. So I think the big trades that we need to talk about. Let's start in New York. The Mets. Mets yesterday acquired Tyler Rogers for Blake Tidwell, Drew Gilbert, and Jose Butto. We're talking about 2 top 10 prospects from the Mets for Tyler Rogers from San Francisco, known as a sidearmer, known for that weird, for lack of a better term, weird arm slot is how I would describe him. That was one of the big ones yesterday. You also had the Jhoan Duran trade, which I had brought up. They traded Eduardo Patate and Mick Abel, and they're going to Minnesota. So Philadelphia gets their back-end reliever guy, their closer. Then you had
let's stop there. Let's stop there. Let's do.
I was gonna do the Ryan Helsley one and finish yesterday.
Okay, yeah. The Helsley one's good because it's paired with the Tyler Rogers move.
Yeah. You got to talk about New York. We got to give the Mets some love. Like, I'm always very negative about the Mets. The Mets got Ryan Helsley, another rental for Jesus Baez, Nate Dome, and Frank Illislat. So let's talk about it. Those are the big trades yesterday. What is your thoughts on those? I mean, the Mets got a mega pen now, in my opinion.
Yeah, Mets got a mega pen. Helsley, had a rough patch there in kind of in like the May timeframe, but he's overall been a solid closer for the Cardinals. It is a rental. I'll be curious to see what they do with Edwin Diaz. I would imagine Diaz still retains the 9th inning, and then Helsley's your setup guy. Rogers is a pain in the ass to hit against, I imagine. Very funky delivery, so that's a really good dude to have in your bullpen as well. I like that trade for New York. I think you also have to talk about New York and kind of just what they did, and you have to bring up the Cedric Mullins trade. They got Cedric Mullins from the Orioles for Raymond Gomez, Chandler Marsh, and Anthony Nunez. So 3 more prospects there from Baltimore. New York was active. They addressed a weakness in the bullpen. Now they got an elite 8-9 in Helsley and Diaz, however they want to work it. And, Rogers could be like the 7th inning guy. So I like the move for the Mets. They addressed a weakness. They needed another outfielder. I love Cedric Mullins. He's been playing really good baseball of late. Had a crazy home run robbery in the series against the Blue Jays this week for Baltimore. So I think we also got to mention they picked up Gregory Soto from Baltimore on the 25th. So that was like last Friday or something. So they made another move. The Phillies are a major winner for me for this trade deadline. They didn't make a ton of moves, but they made the moves that they needed to do. Obviously, they're a good team. They're fighting for first place in the National League East. They went out and got Duran. I think with the Clase suspension, he was the best reliever on the market. He's under team control. You give up Abel and a catching prospect. Maybe that catcher, Tate, would have been their future guy when Realmuto retires. Abel, mid rotation starter. That's fine. Philly has an abundance of starting pitching. We identified that as an area of strength. Everyone knows that's an area of strength for them. They have 5 playoff caliber starters. They didn't need Abel, and they held on to Painter, which was impressive too. I saw that Heyman, I think it was, tweeted out that the Dodgers were aggressively pursuing Duran as well, and the Phillies were in, and the report said that the Phillies or that Minnesota was asking for Andrew Painter, and the Phillies weren't going to give up Andrew Painter for Duran. I'm curious how the negotiations worked out, because obviously Philly, the last place they wanted Duran to go would probably be the Dodgers, because they're going to end up facing them in the playoffs potentially. So that was a really, really good pickup for Philly. They needed bullpen help. Maybe they could have gotten more bullpen help, really only trading for 1 reliever at the deadline. I don't love it. They get the outfield help they need with Bader. We talk about Bader all the time. He's a guy that's going to be in the league for a long time, just a true professional, runs the base as well, plays good defense. That's an upgrade for them in the outfield, whether he's playing center or left. So I thought Philly had a really good deadline. They didn't make a ton of moves, but they made the moves they needed to, and kind of had like a mini arms race between Philly and New York at the deadline this year. And those two, I think, will be probably battling for that division into September.
We can't. Like I said, I gotta applaud the Mets. The Mets now have a clear end of the half of the rotation. End of the half of the game with Helsley and Diaz, and you have Gregory Soto and Rogers to mix in. Another thing too is that Philadelphia was bound to make a move for one of these closers. I said it. It's a classic Dave Dombrowski move. Getting one of the big fish, one of the big whales out here in the middle of the deadline, it was bound to happen. So now, looking at both teams, they're both pretty similar, and they're both on a collision course, I think, in the playoffs. It will remains to be seen how these players, for example, Helsley's been a 9th inning guy. How does he adjust to an 8th inning role? Duran, it's pretty easy because he's not going he's moving, which again, you have to think about the psychological side, moving from a guy who's always been in Minnesota to Philadelphia, which would be a whole different sports fan base, which we can talk about later. But you're going to a closer role. You're not moving into an 8, 7, or 6 hole in some special cases, which we'll talk about later. But all in all, they both had good deadlines, both had W deadlines. Can't ask for more between those two.
Yeah, they're winners from this deadline. They did what they needed to do.
Let's talk about let's stop beating around the bush. I want to talk about New York, the Yankees.
The Yankees,
Your Yankees. Let's give Brian Cashman a round of applause. Like, talk about a deadline where he had a deadline that he was GMing today like his life was on the line. He was GMing like he had a family to feed. Like, he was making trades. He was going like, when you saw the prices for relievers, for example, Jhoan Duran, what did Jhoan Duran go for?
Top pitching prospect in Abel and a good catching prospect in Tate.
Okay, what did Mason Miller go for?
We'll get to that trade later. But a top 5 overall, top 5 prospect in the game.
Then what did my guy Rogers? I confused his brother, which his brother also got traded on the same day from the Reds.
The one from the Giants. Yeah, he went for a lot more than I thought. Like 2 top 10 guys from the Mets system.
Exactly. And what did Blaze Jordan? And you had Blaze Jordan for Steven Matz last night in Boston and St. Louis.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about it. I mean, 2 words. I think there's there's 2 words that get Brian Cashman going, I think, at the trade deadline, this deadline. Like, 2 that got him going. And what are those 2 words? Team control. Let's talk about the moves that he did. First off, he starts off the morning, let's start at the afternoon, around 2:30, 3 o'clock, gets David Bednar, only really gives up Rafael Flores, which is a top 10 prospect in the Yankee system, but back-end top 10 prospect, who they got through undrafted free agency. Okay, so that's basically chump change. That if you're able to identify talent that deep and you're able to flip it for a guy like David Bednar, who's been a top 5 closer in the game for the past month and a half, how do you feel about that? W. He then continues the afternoon. An hour later, he calls up Colorado and is like, "Hey, I did y'all a solid. I took Ryan McMahon all the money. I'm gonna need my good credit. Pay me back." Gets Jake Bird for Rock Reggio. We love Rock Reggio. Rock Reggio's been killing it this year in the minors. But guess what? My boy Jazz is going to be at second for the next 10 years in Yankee Stadium. Same thing with Rafael Flores. Austin Wells is there. You can't really do much about that. And then, he went calling around. We all know starting pitching, and that's going to be something we're going to talk about later. The lack of starting pitching that was moved in at the deadline. And that's probably because, as you said over chat, was the prices were astronomically high for starting pitching. They were probably ridiculous. And knowing how relievers went, I can only imagine what they were asking for the top fish at starting pitchers. We then go, and then he's like, "Okay, let me go get Jose Caballero. Tell him to switch clubhouses after the game and hop on the flight to Miami tonight for Everson Pereira." Jose Caballero right now is top 2 in stolen bases in the major leagues. Plays all across the diamond. He's pretty much John Birdie, this year's John Birdie, in my opinion. Okay? Yep. So he's cooking. I mean, most Yankee fans would have been cool with that, but we would have been incomplete great because you didn't get us the starter, and there's still, ambiguity. And there's still no left-handed reliever. He then goes at the buzzer, a Jack Curry special, and he calls up and gets Camilo Doval, the closer for the San Francisco Giants. And my, oh my, Mr. Camilo Doval, he hasn't been great of late, but boy, is he a flamethrower. And now the Yankees have a bunch of toys to play with at the end of the game. Think about the bullpen starting this weekend in Miami for the Yankees. You got closing Devin Williams. You got Luke Weaver at setup. David Bednar coming in the 7th. You got Jake Bird also. And you got Camilo Doval. In a couple of weeks, you'll have Mark Leiter Jr. back in that pen, Fernando Cruz, and probably Ryan Yarbrough. Oh, and if the Yankees really want to get tricky with it, they got Cam Schlittler. Yeah. So, the need for a third starter pretty much evaporates when you have Camilo Doval. You still have him. Yeah, you don't need a third starter. You don't. You really don't. In the playoffs. you can bullpen it. You can tell Ryan Yarbrough, come out and pitch me 2 innings, and you have so many options. You also have Tim Hill, I forgot to mention. You have so many options to go throw at a team that, Aaron Boone cannot mismanage his bullpen. He has the Rolls Royces of bullpens in Major League Baseball. Well, he has every single toy. If Aaron Boone was a chef, he has the Viking kitchen stove. He got the nice knives. He got the best blender in the game. He has every single chef toy in there.
There's another team that we'll get to later that I think also has a Rolls Royce of bullpens. But yeah, this deadline was a home run for Cashman. I give it a solid A-. The only reason he's not at an A+ is because he didn't get out and get that starter. But like we said, the price for those starters that the Yankees were probably looking to get were most likely astronomical. And he didn't want to part with the top prospects, Lombard, Schlittler, Jones. And he was able to hold on to all of those guys, and he still had a successful deadline. This was a Cashman masterclass on paper. We'll see how the season shakes out. But you got 4 closers now, essentially, in your bullpen. Obviously, Weaver and Williams are free agents after this season. So I think this means that Williams won't come back. I still hold out hope that they bring back Weaver because he was able to kind of like revitalize his career in New York, and that's where he essentially became a lockdown reliever. He was a converted starter. So hope he comes back. But now you got Jake Bird under team control through 2028, Camilo Doval under team control through 2027, and David Bednar under control through next season, 2026. So you make those moves. The bullpen was a weakness. Now it's hopefully a strength, hopefully. And then in terms of the lineup, we talked about the Ryan McMahon trade last week, or earlier this week, but that addressed a weakness at third base defensively. And he's been hitting for the Yankees, had the walk-off hit in the crazy Wednesday night game. You bring in Rosario. The Yankees can't hit lefties, so they bring in Ahmed Rosario and Austin Slater. Not necessarily world-moving moves, but they address weaknesses that the Yankees had in the lineup. That's something they needed to do. So, and you bring in Jose Caballero over from the Rays, a guy that's leading Major League Baseball in steals, and he's an infielder. He's a shortstop. So Volpe, we'll talk about Volpe later, but if Volpe's struggling or Volpe just needs a day off, Volpe's the kind of guy that plays like every single game. Now Caballero can slide in there and give Volpe a break, which is great. And he'll be a pinch runner in the playoffs if the Yankees make the playoffs. He'll be a perfect pinch runner for the team. So this team, these were moves that made the Yankees better today, and they're perfect for when the game is magnified in the playoffs and strategy really comes into it. You need to bring in a pinch runner. You need to have a good lineup that hits lefties well. That stuff really matters. You're facing Garrett Crochet or Tarek Skubal in the playoffs. Now you have good guys that can hit lefties. Like, these moves were very, very shrewd from the Yankees, not only looking at what's going to bring them success in the regular season, but what's going to bring them success in the postseason. So I'm excited as a fan. That things could go totally sideways. We don't know. But right now, July 31st, deadline day, it's a major win for the Yankees. They were one of the major winners from this trade deadline.
Now, let me just ask you this. To my point, I think the number one thing of concern is getting these closers to adjust to their role. I mean, Jake Bird's not a closer, but I mean, he's going to be one of those guys we're going to be really looking at, like how we translate from Coors to Yankee Stadium. So we expect him to get better. I think, like I mentioned, with the return of Heel and Yarbrough from the IL, I don't think you need a starter. By getting Doval, you don't need another starter because you can essentially bullpen a game.
Yeah, their playoff rotation, I think, will be, if they make the playoffs. Fried game 1, Luis Heel game 2. We'll see what Heel looks like when he's coming back. At least it's not a Tommy John recovery. It's just an oblique. So it's theoretically, hopefully, easier to come back from than an elbow injury. Heel game 2 and Rodon game 3. And then you probably don't need a 4-starter. If you need to run out a 4-starter, Schlittler, I mean, it's not going to be Stroman. Stroman's going to be a long relief guy in the playoffs. So
is Marcus Stroman on the roster in 2 weeks is the question.
Well, the thing is, the 140 innings vesting option thing with him, I don't know exactly how many innings he's at right now. There's no way he hits that for the Yankees this year. They know they don't want him to hit that. That guarantee. I can check how many innings he's at right now.
But I'm just saying, but Schlittler, you're going to have Schlittler. Who do you prefer, Schlittler or Stroman on the playoff team?
He's only at 34 innings right now. On the playoff team, on the playoff roster, and as a starter or as a reliever?
Well, he's not going to start.
So I'd rather have Schlittler as a reliever because he's got better stuff, or he's more of a power arm that can come out of the pen than Stroman.
Okay, Warren or Stroman?
Probably Warren.
Okay, Yarbrough or Stroman?
We'll see what Yarbrough looks like coming back, but based on performance this year, probably Yarbrough.
That's what I'm saying. Does Stroman even have a role on the team anymore? Remains to be seen. And we'll leave it at that.
Right now, yes, he'll be a starter because we need the arms.
Yeah, but like I said, we'll leave it at that. I mean, hats off to Brian Cashman. I mean, we would have loved to see the another starter by the Yankees. Big winners. I think the other big winners today we have to go and talk about are the San Diego Padres. I mean, talk about a team. AJ Preller, man. Excuse my language, but F them picks, F them kids, F them prospects. He literally runs that team like it is my GM on MLB The Show or my like 2K. The guy is trading prospects left and right. Trade override is on, essentially. I mean, if I'm a fan of the San Diego Padres, I love it because I have a GM that wants to put out a winning product and that understands what he has in his hands. He has a prime Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado in his last legs, Xander Bogaerts on whatever he has left in the tank, and he has Dylan Cease for 3 more months and a mega pen with Adrian Morejon, Roberto Suarez, and Jeremiah Estrada. He's just like, you know what? I have to do best and put the best product on the field and try to win it. And he sees that the Dodgers are slipping. I've been saying the Dodgers are slipping. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to give me credit. That's fine. Remind me in October, and y'all will see. But he goes out and has a masterful day. He first off starts the morning. And of course, the Locked In Sports Podcast strikes again with the Mason Miller trade. He gets Mason Miller and JP Sears for Leo DeVries, which for you guys that don't know is a top 5 prospect. You know the last top 5 prospect that was traded?
Eloy.
It was Eloy. And you know who else was traded like that? Highest prospects ever to get traded like that?
No, I don't know. That Eloy was the last highest one to get traded at the deadline.
Yohan Moncada, number 1 overall, Giolito, and Will Myers. Moncada was number 1 in with the Boston system. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He goes out and get Mason Miller, which I mean, my buddy Bailey, shout out Bailey, I saw him last weekend at the bachelor party. He's the groom. He was very mad, but I explained to him that the Sacramento A's are becoming the Oklahoma City Thunder of Major League Baseball. They now have a great core to build on going into Vegas. And now San Diego, you basically have a shutdown game from inning 6 to 9. That's going to be electric. Mason Miller coming out of the 9th. Like, who's going to close? Is it going to be Suarez? Is it going to be Miller? And
it'll be Miller.
JP Sears, you've seen him using the Yankee system. He has a little bit to work with. So shout out to them for getting that deal done. After that, he then proceeds and is like, I need a catcher. Goes gets Freddie Fermin, which who would have thought Freddie Fermin would have been available at the trade deadline? Like, really?
That was a bit of a puzzling move for the Royals just because Salvi's, you don't want to take those reps away or you want to give Salvi the rest. And now we'll see what they do at catcher. But yeah, Fermin was a good pickup for them. He's a strong defensive catcher. 3 blocks above average, pop times in the 90th percentile. So yeah, he's a good catcher.
That's better than Martin Maldonado's bat too, what they have there.
And Elias Diaz, they needed a catcher and they needed a left fielder, and they addressed that too with the Orioles trade.
They got Ryan O'Hearn, which, I mean, he's been one of the great bats at first baseman DH bats, and they got Ramon Laureano. So now San Diego has a full lineup. They've completed their whole team. And man, oh man, Dodgers didn't do anything today. It's an arms race.
So my thing with the Padres trade is the quote, I mean, prospects are cool, parades are cooler. And ask any Cubs fan, 2016, would you rather have Gleyber Torres or Aroldis Chapman in a World Series with Aroldis Chapman, or 7-8 years of Gleyber Torres before he hits free agency and not a guarantee of a World Series? Of course, you take the World Series every single time. No one remembers the prospects, even if they pan out. Okay, maybe they will. We'll see what happens with DeVry. It's still TBD. He's 18 years old. You gotta win. Preller makes a lot of these crazy trades. He's traded more prospect talent than any GM in this century, right? But if he gets a title, it's worth it. It's worth it. San Diego's never won a championship. I don't know if the Chargers ever won a title when they were there. I don't think they did. I don't think that city's ever seen a parade. Like
they have a great ballpark. They deserve it, man. Like, talk about it.
And they might stretch Miller into a starter. He's got a few more years of control. DeVry, again, top prospect now. That doesn't mean he's going to be the next Derek Jeter at shortstop. Like, I understand he's a highly touted guy, but not every prospect pans out. So we'll see. There's a lot of time. Time will tell with that move and the prospect that they gave up. But I like them being aggressive. I respect it. It's fun to see. It's good for the sport. If you're a Padres fan, you might feel a little trepidation giving up the top prospect, but now you have the best bullpen maybe I've ever seen. I mean, it reminds me of like the 2015 Royals, where it's just going to be, they only need like 4 innings out of the starter. And then they hand it over to Estrada, and then Morejón, and then Jason Adam, and then Robert Suarez and Mason Miller to close out the game. Like, that is absolutely lights out. And no team wants to face that in the playoffs, because it's a lot harder, in my opinion, to face a team with an elite bullpen like that, because you're seeing a different arm every single inning. Whereas if, now with the analytics and everything, you rarely see a pitcher through the 3rd time of the order, and you rarely see those deep, starts in the playoffs from starting pitchers. So the bullpen becomes that much more valuable. And they just have, they already have the best bullpen. They had the best bullpen in the whole league statistically before the deadline. Now it's even better. It's like totally wipe out. And they got the star power in the lineup. They addressed the weakness in left field. They addressed the weakness in catcher. So now, in theory, the bottom half of that lineup is a lot better than where it was. They're World Series contenders. And I desperately want to see them play the Dodgers in the playoffs, because that series is always electric. And like you said, the Dodgers didn't do a ton at the deadline. They've shown some weakness this season. So yeah, oh man, Padres Dodgers in the playoffs now would just be absolutely incredible.
They only picked up Brock Stewart and Alex Call. Now let me ask you, Dodgers or Padres today?
In the series?
Yeah.
Best of 7? I'm still going to take the Dodgers.
I'm taking the Padres.
Is this pending Ohtani injury? It was just cramps, but if he's not a starter,
it was just cramps. I don't care. I'm still taking Padres in 7. I'm still taking Padres in the 7-game series.
That would just be, I desperately need to see that series. Padres are 3 back right now with the Dodgers.
I'm still taking them. Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts aren't the same players that they've been. Fernando Tatis lives for these series. Manny Machado, I think, still waiting on his moment, on that big offseason World Series moment. He does not like LA. I think this is San Diego can do it. I really do.
They've had their chances. They got to do it at some point. And, maybe the starting pitching is a little bit of a concern with them. With Darvish, he had a really good start this week. Pivetta, Cease, they keep him. JP Sears will probably be pitching in some big games for them this season.
Yeah, he will be. He will be doing that. I just like what San Diego did. LA didn't do much, and just let's roll around that division. San Francisco didn't do anything aside from the Rafael Devers trade a month and a half ago. And Arizona, they sold. So
SF, they got Mike Yastrzemski, or they traded Mike Yastrzemski, to KC for Junior Marte, and then they had the Duvall trade that we already talked about. Right. They moved Tyler Rogers, which I thought that was a good trade for them. They got a good haul in return from the Mets, and then the Devers trade. So not a super active deadline for them. They've been struggling big time anyway, so I think they were kind of like stuck in the middle, and they kind of ended up being soft sellers. And then Arizona. We can talk about Arizona. That was
Arizona didn't trade Gallen. That's the biggest thing. They didn't trade Gallen. I think that was pretty surprising, knowing that he doesn't have team control next year. I think their play, they kind of showed their hand out here, because they traded Shelby Miller and Jordan Montgomery. I think we all know about Jordan Montgomery and all the money that he's due. And Merrill Kelly got traded, so it may be that money that they saved on Jordan Montgomery, trading him to the Brewers, goes to Zach Gallen, maybe re-upping him next year, going on a soft little rebuild, and then going for it next year. Remains to be seen. Suarez ended up in Seattle. Seattle really loaded up, and talk about a division, not to get too off base, but the AL West, arms race. I mean, the Angels are going for it, is what they said in the telecast. Buster only said on the telecast. The Seattle Mariners are going through it with Eugenio Suarez. They landed that big fish, and they also landed a left-handed reliever in Caleb Ferguson, which was highly coveted, and they got Josh Naylor. So they're ready to go. Houston Astros getting Carlos Correa. I mean, the theme about the deadline this year is going back to your ex. It doesn't really work out many times, but the times that it does work out, I mean, most of the times people that get back with their exes, they usually get married. And maybe that's what's happening in Houston. Going back to your ex, getting another ring, Carlos Correa playing third base. They got better. And then Texas, they got Merrill Kelly. They'll be going for it. So, man, a division that got better from top to bottom.
Yeah, I think Seattle was a major winner from this deadline. They were able to get Eugenio Suarez for their number 9, number 17, and number 16 prospects. So not necessarily the haul that maybe we thought was gonna require to get Suarez at the deadline. This was a midnight trade, Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. So that was a win.
And before you continue, I know it's a win. I think the big disclaimer I want to go out right now with the guys is said, like, I know you said it was the 9 and that 17th. Every team has a different ranking of prospects. We may think they're 9 and 17. The other teams, they may think they're like crown jewel. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, Arizona, the first baseman they got, Tyler Locklear, highly regarded apparently. Heyman said that via Twitter, so we'll see. That was a great get. They addressed the weakness at first base with Josh Naylor that we already talked about that one, and then they picked up a reliever, Caleb Ferguson, to add to the bullpen. They got him from Pittsburgh, so they addressed their weaknesses. The whole division. I mean, Houston, they've just been so injured. And yeah, going out and getting Correa, he's got 3 more years of control, and then it's like vesting options, basically like performance-based options that the contract will vest for that season if he hits those. It's like a certain amount of at-bats, or like if he's an MVP, top 5, stuff like that. So that helps mitigate some of the injury concerns. I still don't like that contract. He hasn't been good. I mean, him in Minnesota just didn't really make any sense. He's one of those guys that's meant to play in Houston. He should have stayed there his whole career, but the Astros don't really love giving out those mega deals. And Minnesota is eating like $30 million of that contract, which is, I mean, again, their fire sale continued when that happened. Seemed like the move was, not gonna happen at points today. And then it did obviously go through. Minnesota got a pitching prospect, Matt Mikulewski, in return for him. The Astros also got Jesus Sanchez from your Marlins. That was a really good trade, in my opinion, by Peter Bendix, the GM with Miami. They got Ryan Gusto and then a couple prospects as well for Jesus Sanchez. So I think that was a win for Miami. And then Houston also got Ramon Urias from Baltimore. So again, Isaac Paredes out for the season. That'll be depth in the infield for them. Correa is going to be playing third base. They got to get healthy. Like Jordan's got a weird hand injury that he's still recovering from, but it was a win for the Mariners, a win for Houston, in my opinion, a win for, I mean, we'll see what happens with the Correa contract. Again, I don't love that deal. We'll see what happens with the Angels. They got Oswald Peraza from the Yankees. Can't believe the Yankees were able to get a player in return for Peraza. I guess he's a good defender. And then they got a couple relievers, Andrew Chafin and Luis Garcia from the Nationals. So yeah, the Angels were buyers. I can respect it, to be honest. The A's were obviously clear sellers in that division, getting rid of Mason Miller. And then, I mean, we want to talk about Texas too.
Got Merrill Kelly.
They did. Yeah, they got Merrill Kelly.
But I think we've beaten the West Horn. I'm gonna talk about 3 teams that are pretty underrated, and then we'll talk about clear losers, and then we'll go into the Yankees recap. I really liked what Minnesota did, Miami, and I enjoyed what Tampa did.
You like what Minnesota did?
Yeah, because Minnesota is in the AL Central. That is probably the most volatile division in the majors. Yes, Detroit's killing it right now, and they're in first place. But Detroit can be, again, next year, they can be in 4th. They've had a lot of things break their way this year, and especially in 2 years, Scuba might not be there. And when you look at Minnesota, that team really wasn't going anywhere. And I think the biggest thing they needed to do is that they sold high on their assets that they did have. For example, Griffin Jacks, you get Taj Bradley, who that could be something you can work with. They also got rid of that Carlos Correa deal, cleared a lot of money off of that. They got stuff back for Harrison Bader, and they also got a great prospect haul from Jhoan Duran. So you're kind of looking to the future. There's kind of a vision there. They're setting up for success in the future in a division that has no future. Because when you look at the Royals, yes, the Royals have Bobby Witt Jr., but the pieces around Bobby Witt Jr. aren't really that young. We still don't know what Jack Caglianone's going to be. Like, yes, he's highly regarded, but it's still too early to say. Cleveland was in clear sell mode, and they held their assets this year. Yes, Cleveland has a good farm system, but it remains to be seen what they're going to look like in a couple of years. So they're kind of just like, best analogy I'd like to put it is the Philadelphia 76ers from back in the day. Like, trust the process, get all the picks, reload, and go for it, which I don't mind that. I understand it's a bad look for the fans, but when you look at that, team's not going anywhere. They're not going to win the division. And what's better? Would you rather have sustained success? And I'm going to start like Wall Street here, but would you rather have continuous success over years, or would you rather just have that one flash pan year of a win? And I would take that over this flash pan of success. That's why I like Minnesota. With Tampa, I mean,
can I speak on Minnesota?
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually do kind of agree. I really like Minnesota's farm system and what they got coming up. Walter Jenkins, the outfielder, Emmanuel Rodriguez, Luke Keyshaw, and the Tate, the catcher they got from Philly. Now they got Kalen Culpepper as well, local product. Went to SBA. McAble, like, they got dudes in that farm system that'll be there. Brooksley, we'll see what happens with him and his development. Royce Lewis, if he can stay healthy, he's still very talented. He makes a lot of sense for them, more so than the Correa. Like, Correa just never really made sense in Minnesota. I never liked the fit. They kept Joe Ryan to be their guy in the rotation moving forward. Pablo Lopez is still there. So there is still talent in Minnesota. And to your point, like, they did sell high on some of these guys, and they got a really good return for Duran. And I think Taj Bradley, there's still something there. He was sent down to AAA in Tampa, but they got a lot of starters. Like, there's something there with him. Griffin Jax was never going to, again, we always talk about like high-end relievers. You don't really need them if you're not any good. What's the long-term future of all these teams in that division? Who knows? So I do agree. Like, a lot of these movements, they got James Outman for Brock Stewart. That was a good trade. Bader, decent return, a couple prospects. So I thought they had a good deadline, and they got to figure out like the ownership situation. Like, they'll probably have to sell the team and get a new owner, and it might be a long process there, but they did have a good deadline.
It was doom and gloom for a lot of people, but I think that with Twitter really exacerbates that reaction. But I feel like, in a long-term view, they're setting themselves up for long-term success. At first, I'm like, holy crap, this is a fire sale. Call them, like, pick up the phone and call and see who you can get. It's like everything must go, but foreclosure type of sale. But yeah, I like what they did. I like what Tampa did. Tampa really did a lot of value buying. I mean, they got Griffin Jax for Taj Bradley. I mean, now they have Peter Fairbanks and Griffin Jax. We saw them play last night. That bullpen is really good with Ucedia. They're going to be a team if they can piece it together. They'll be really interesting to see next year. So I really liked what Tampa did.
They could still be good this year. Such a Tampa move to get Adrian Hauser from the White Sox.
Yeah, that's another thing that I like. I love what Tampa did. Like, it's going to be very interesting what Tampa does with that. They have a lot of really good pitching. And then I really enjoyed what who did I mention that I said? I forgot. I'm blanking on who did I said what team I liked. Tampa, Minnesota,
Miami.
And Miami. I mean, Papa Bendix. Can we clap it up for Papa Bendix, man?
They weren't that active. They just held on to the guys.
Yeah, but we're in a playoff race. You understand? We are in a playoff race. You understand that this weekend we are beating you guys when you come to our place. You are not walking into our trap and taking over our trap. I'm going to make a bet with you right now. Let's make a bet.
Okay, let's do it.
If the Marlins win this weekend, the series, they take 2 out of 3. I lead the podcast next week.
Okay.
For an episode.
All right, that's fine. I'll shake on that.
Shake on that. I will lead the podcast, and I'll be the guy doing the intro and everything. You'll do the William does the editing, but it will be a me-led podcast, which I think it could go off the rails. It'd be like if Kendrick Perkins led First Take, which I think that would be something.
Yeah, I mean, you're leading this one right now with going through the trades, but all right, we'll let you do the full thing.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying with Miami, it's just like this is not your this is not your father and your grandfather's Marlins. We held strong, and we were not going to take it. We were like Charlotte's Web. We were not going to get pushed around and get wholesale priced for Sandy Alcantara and Edward Cabrera. The Yankees called, and we were like, we want Spencer Jones. You guys didn't want to give us Spencer Jones? We hung up the phone. Let's talk about that. Like, now you got Sandy, Edward Cabrera, Jason Junk, Yuri Perez. That's not a team you want to see in the playoffs. And then, we got Gusto as well, too, to develop in the future. We sold high on Jeezy, on Jesus Sanchez. We sold high on him. Got some good returns back. I mean, Bendix is cooking. Nobody wants to give love to the Marlins. I mean, they did nothing. They're like, oh, they didn't give Sandy and sell high. Hey,
sell high with Sandy, though. Like, he's got a couple more years of team control. Contract's a little bit higher. He hasn't been good this year. He's had some better starts of late. The start against St. Louis this week was good. I think they probably think, he's a Cy Young winner. Like, his value is probably the lowest it has been in his whole career right now. So I like it. They're going for it. I'm excited now. These last 2 months of the season will be fun to watch the Marlins.
I'm telling you, Miami's been the hottest team in Major League Baseball, and it's a shame that on the clip you didn't include my stuff. I've been leading the Marlins bandwagon, and you've clearly decided to take over the bandwagon. Clearly a Marlins coup d'etat out here.
No comment.
But let's talk about the losers out here. I know.
Oh boy.
There's two teams that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Milwaukee Brewers, and then the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago White Sox. Make that 3. Where was Jed Hoyer at the playpen? Can we get confirmation if Jed Hoyer was at the playpen? Was he at the beef where they filmed the bear, or was he at Giordano's? Where was Jed Hoyer out?
I think the Cubs front office was passed out at Portillo's or something. They didn't realize the trade deadline was on Thursday. They might have thought it was on Friday or something. I don't know what they were doing today.
Were they at the Golden Triangle, River North, West Loop? Were that the topless place at West Loop, or were they caught at Cal last night too late? What was going on?
I don't know what they were doing. Let's
talk about it.
Let's talk about it. I mean, the Cubs are my biggest loser of this trade deadline. I mean, if you're a Cubs fan, I think you have every right to just be infuriated right now, because it was such an obvious weakness starting pitching. They needed to get multiple starters, and the only starter you end up getting is Michael Soroka from Washington for a couple prospects. Like, that's not a needle mover. How much better is Soroka than what they already have been throwing out there outside of Imanaga and Boyd? Like, he's not that much better than Ben Brown. I mean, okay, maybe he's probably a good amount better than Ben Brown, but like, I don't know. Is that a needle moving trade? Is that a move? Is Michael Soroka a move that is going to take the Cubs from fringe World Series contenders to this team has every chance to win the World Series? No. And like a Cade Horton, is Soroka much better than a Cade Horton? I don't know. I mean, meh. They get in reliever and Andrew Kittredge from Baltimore. Okay. You get another reliever from Pittsburgh and Taylor Rogers. Okay. You get Willie Castro, a super utility guy from Minnesota. I like Castro as a player. It's not what the Cubs needed. The Cubs don't need infield help. They have plenty of infielders. Their infield is set. What they needed was starting pitching, and they didn't really do much to address that. They didn't get Alcantara. They didn't get Cease. Dustin May was on the block, apparently. They didn't go out and get him. Again, not a lot of starters moved. They didn't get Gallen. They didn't get Merrill Kelly. They didn't. And the thing with the Cubs is this is your 1 year with Kyle Tucker. It seemed like the team was going to be all in. That's all the indications they gave. They're all in on the season. And yes, trading for Tucker is an all-in trade, but you have a clear weakness in the starting rotation. Clear weakness. It's so obvious. And they didn't do anything to they didn't really do anything to address it. And now it's your 1 year with Kyle Tucker. You didn't get that much better at the deadline. Who knows what happens in the playoffs? He's probably walking. He's probably going somewhere else. I think he's going to the highest bidder. And let's see what it looks like next year. PCA's the guy. He's going to be your star player next season. But Kyle Tucker makes that lineup, in my opinion, what it is this year. He's one of those guys similar to like a Juan Soto that just makes everyone else in the lineup better. You got to do everything you can to be all in on this season, because this is the one season you have Kyle Tucker for sure. And just a dud of a deadline for them.
Not even a Charlie Morton. I think a Charlie Morton would have been perfect for this team. Like I know
Yeah,
Charlie Morton's
yeah.
not great, but he eats innings. That's what you need. You need somebody to eat you 5 innings and get you to the pen. That's what you need in the playoffs.
He's
And
a veteran arm, and you can teach some of these young guys that they have, like a Cade Horton or a Ben Brown in the rotation. Yeah.
He pitched big games. He's a gamer, and that's what you need in the playoffs. Every great dynasty and every great team has one of those pitchers that when you look at him on paper, I was like, oh, he's not like that flamethrower, but he's just a gamer. For the Red Sox dynasty, who was it? Tim Wakefield. Like those, you need those type of guys on those teams. So I mean, Charlie Morton would have been great. I mean, Milwaukee, very interesting trade deadline with Milwaukee. Can't really do that. And I mean, the White Sox just pretty much sold in general. Also pretty disappointed in the whole AL East. I mean, the AL East is there for the taking. Toronto didn't do anything crazy. I mean, they had to get Shane Bieber, but he's coming off Tommy John. What is he going to look like?
And with the Shane Bieber trade, the guy they gave up, Cal Steven, apparently has been one of the highest rising pitching prospects in all of baseball. So he could turn into something in Cleveland. And it's a major question mark with Bieber coming off the injury, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You don't know. I mean, Boston. I mean, I'm not going to question Boston because if I do so, they'll win like 10 games in a row. But I mean, it's just confusing. Just logically, I don't see the logic. They probably had some computer or some Wall Street model, streamlined performance out there at FSG running.
They were in stealth mode, apparently.
Who knows, man? But all in all, great trade deadline. I'll say that. I mean, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, with Boston, you trade Blaze Jordan, a good prospect. He's hitting 308 in the minors this year, 872 OPS. Local product, so now he's going to go to the Cardinals minor league system, play in Memphis back home for him. That'll be cool. Dustin May, you get him a rental. He's a free agent after this season. He's nothing to write home about. Good pitcher, but he's coming off an injury. I think he's a 2-time Tommy John guy. They gave up James Tibbs, good prospect. So yeah, Boston, for where they are, pushing for a wild card. They could still get in the division race. They didn't really do much. Obviously, you had the Devers trade, which was at this point, I think we can say a major win for them, but didn't do much at the deadline. I still think they're in the race. Like, they still have a good ball club despite the lowly deadline, but they needed more pitching. And is Dustin May the answer? I don't know. Again, not much starting pitching was moved. I thought the White Sox were maybe a little more active than you're giving credit for. I mean, they moved Adrian Hauser, they moved Slater. Who else were they going to move? Now they're kind of at a point where they got a bunch of young dudes that they kind of want to hold on to at this point.
Robert.
Yeah, I guess that's the one with he's been in trade rumors for feels like his whole career at this point, and still there. Yeah. And he's been heating up too.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty surprised that Toronto didn't go for it. I feel like Toronto's one of those uber aggressive front offices, and I'm kind of surprised that they didn't make a bigger move. I kind of thought like they were going to be the team that ended up with Gallen. But again, I can only imagine what the starting pitching prices were. If Sandy, Cease, Gallen didn't move, and you saw Bieber, a guy coming off Tommy John, hasn't pitched at all this year, pretty much pitching in the minors, going for one of the biggest risers, I can only imagine what the prices were. Spencer Jones for Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah.
If that's the package, oof.
If we're looking at guys that got moved at the deadline in terms of starting pitching, it's Eric Fetty, Carlos Carrasco, Chris Paddock. You had a bunch of like prospects, but the MLB guys, Zach Littell went to Cincinnati, 3-team trade. Shane Bieber got moved. JP Sears, Stephen Kolek, Ryan Bergert, Merrill Kelly, Bailey Falter went to Kansas City. Nestor Cortez went to San Diego. Dustin May, Adrian Hauser, Charlie Morton, Tosh Bradley, and Matt Manning and Jordan Montgomery. So like, yeah, it was. I mean, in terms of the names out there, like Joe Ryan was floated. Obviously Sandy was there. Edward Cabrera was rumored. You had Dylan Cease in rumors. Not really the big arms. Zach Gallen, they didn't get moved. The price for starting pitching must have been astronomical. We saw the relievers move this year, which was, interesting to see. A lot of high leverage, big names, Mason freaking Miller, Jhoan Duran, they got moved, but the starting pitching market was kind of tame this year, or at least the actual trades that happened were tame. Guardians were a loser. They got screwed with the Clase suspension
They
because
did.
if they moved Clase, he would have got a mother load.
Woo! They would have gotten a mother load. I mean, I think, like I said, I really did not like Toronto's deadline. I feel like a team that's uber aggressive like Toronto would have been a big move. And a lot of those guys you named were DFA'd. Like Matt Manning was DFA'd. Eric Fetty was DFA'd.
Yeah.
Carlos Carrasco was pitching in AAA.
He was DFA'd this year, yeah.
It's just, the arms didn't move. Prices were high. I think the biggest tall tale we have to learn in the offseason is I think I'd rather overpay paying these guys in the offseason than going for it on trades, looking at what you had to give up.
For what, relievers or starters or
relievers?
I'm anti-paying relievers big contracts. I would rather have a young reliever like a Mason Miller that's under team control, and then once he's like close to 30 and you got to pay him a lot of money, like that's when the best years of his production are behind him. The Josh Hader trade again, or the Josh Hader signing has worked out for Houston, so that's one that you have to note for sure.
Yeah, but it's just the prices were just high. The price is way too high. They need to cut it. So
we also had Reds were active. They got Key Brian Hayes from the Pirates for a couple prospects.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's cool.
It's good. I mean, I wanted the Yankees to get him. He
already made an error on the first day. So yeah, Ryan McMahon's already a better pickup. So Cashman making the moves. So
McMahon's been good. McMahon's been good.
Good deadline, man. Great, really good deadline. I really enjoyed this deadline. Let's see what happens in the offseason with this. So we'll be back at it next year with Luis Robert trade rumors.
We'll definitely, yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Who are some of the biggest? I'm putting you on the spot. Who are some of the biggest free agents next offseason?
Cease, Tucker.
No, not this year. Like next year's trade deadline. Next year's trade deadline might be messy because the lockout will be looming.
Oh yeah, that might be crazy.
That's another thing that sorry to interrupt. That's another thing that happened this week. We had a lot of lockout news earlier in the week. We also had Ryne Sandberg. Ryne Sandberg passed away, which was sad.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
The lockout? I don't want to talk about the lockout. I mean, baseball can't have a lockout. Like all the momentum that baseball has had over the past few years with the pitch clock, and like now you actually have like casual fans engaged with the game. Attendance is skyrocketing. You have viewership skyrocketing. It can't happen. Like I understand there's a lot of points of contention, the salary cap, salary floor. Players say they're willing to give up 162 games to not have a salary cap. Owners desperately want a salary cap, but it's like for the betterment of the game, it just cannot happen. And for as great as Manfred has been, I just feel like if he has 2 lockouts under his belt, like that's what are people going to remember more, the lockout or the way he fixed the game? If he avoids a lockout here, and we've had some of the best baseball over the past few seasons, just the run baseball's been on, like his legacy will be a positive one. But if he has a full season of lockout under his belt, and we already had the lockout in, was it 2021, 2022? I think it's 21. Like, that's going to suck. It just sucks all around. Like, no lockout. We cannot, baseball cannot endure and survive a full season off. That would just be horrible for the sport and the growth that it's experiencing right now.
All I will say is that there is a lockout. The Locked In Sports podcast will be going international to the Caribbean. We have already made our plans early. We do already have a place already in mind and a place to go cover and report baseball. We will have a house to stay at to go cover Winter League baseball while MLB is in lockout. Locked In Sports will go to Puerto Rico. Locked In Sports Winter Edition Puerto Rico. The content will be crazy, is all I'll say.
We'll figure something out. We'll cover the Dominican Summer League, wherever the players end up playing. We'll definitely be there.
We're not gonna go to Puerto Rico. Will William go to Puerto Rico for the first time? William will hop on the jet and move to Puerto Rico. Full remote.
I'd love to go to Puerto Rico. That'd be fun.
Go full remote and get the Locked In Sports Podcast Winter League Puerto Rico edition. It'd be hilarious. I mean, we talked about Ryne Sandberg passing away, one of the greatest to ever play. Cubs are going to be honoring him this weekend on Saturday, and they will be wearing his jersey. Very sad to hear his passing at a very young age.
Yeah. Had cancer. Sad. Very sad.
Sad.
Top 2-3 Cub of all time. I mean, Ernie Banks up there, Cap Anson up there. But Ryne Sandberg, one of the absolute greats. Truly sad day, honestly, in baseball. And Cubs will honor him, which will be great. I'm sure it'll be an emotional scene in Wrigley tomorrow.
Yeah. Sad news.
So that was enough deadline. You want to move into the Yankee recap for the week? Good series for the Yanks.
Let's talk about the Yankees. I mean, as we always do, we always recap the Yankees. Williams, Yankee fan since birth, and this is the Yankees week in review. Yankees played a 4-game set against the Tampa Bay Rays, and they won 3 out of 4. On Monday, it was a tough one. Rays won 4-2. The Rays bullpen was lights out going 4, only giving up 2 hits. Tuesday night, Yankees won 7-5. Max Fried went 6 2/3, 2 earned, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, and 111 pitches. Great start for him. Bellinger and Volpe went for a home run. Volpe has just been a roller coaster season. Let's just get that out of the way.
Let's just talk about Volpe. Let's talk about Volpe. Let's do it.
Let me just finish up. They won Wednesday, yesterday, which is a roller coaster of a game. They won 5-4 and 11, and then Thursday they won 7-4 today. But Anthony Volpe is pretty much, for every error he gives up, it's a home run he gives up. But he's been quite a roller coaster.
Yeah, I think we're definitely getting that notification in early November, whenever the season's over, a week or 2 after the season, that Anthony Volpe's going for some type of off-season surgery, that he was playing injured all season, because there's just no way this guy's healthy at this point. I mean, he's hitting, he's been hitting of late. Sure, we're getting the full, 180 Anthony Volpe experience. He's hitting, but he leads Major League Baseball in errors right now. And he's just, there's no way he's this bad of a defender. He won a Gold Glove a couple years ago. He was a strong defender last season, and he's just fallen off a total cliff this year. He had that weird play diving to his right, that very similar to the Trevor Story injury, that the one that left him out for the season. The thing with Volpe is his arm strength is just, he's kind of like a noodle arm out there right now. And he's a guy that had a, pretty strong league average, I would say, arm before then. Defense was never a concern with Volpe. It was always the bat. And now defense has become a concern. I feel like there's no way he's 100% healthy. He has to be injured. So part of the reason why I like the Caballero trade, to kind of take some of the pressure away from Volpe and maybe give Volpe some more off days. But yeah, he made a couple bad errors in this series, and most of the errors, he does have some fielding errors where he's not coming and attacking the ball, but most of the errors are throwing errors. And I just feel like we're going to get that notification end of the season that he's going for off-season surgery, and that'll be the reason that he'll be the starting shortstop next year, for at least the first bit of the season. It's kind of a built-in excuse already for next season. But yeah, I think he's hurt.
I kind of said this to you yesterday. I kind of expected something like that. I mean, Anthony Volpe's just been so hard to watch fielding shortstop. I'm not confident when he fields a ground ball. I don't know if it's going to be
no,
errant
not at
throw.
all.
It seems like he lacks confidence, and I feel like you said the Caballero trade is going to be really, really good, giving him some time off. And I mean, Booney addressed it the other night. He's got to get better. Can't be rolling out these errors in the playoffs. Very difficult to see. But let's highlight last night. Last night's victory is one of the most important victories of the season for the Yankees. They could have rolled over and died last night, but they kept on fighting. I mean, Trent Grisham's home run in the 8th, tying up the game. Then you get Giancarlo Stanton RBI single, which put the game at 2-1, which is great. Then after that, you had that awful pitch by Devin Williams. And I mean, Devin Williams, I don't think just good for the pinstripes. And I had your voice in my mind that, like, horrible body language, get him off my team. Like, there's just things that Williams says often that if you know William enough, it's like an Xbox controller. Like, when William doesn't like a player, he hits either awful body language, not a good player, or there's just certain things he says. And I just thought about that after he gave up the walk to it was the walk that occurred, and came in. Jose Caballero stole the base, gave up the homer to Josh Lowe. After that, team could have leaned over and died. Austin Mills makes a horrible mistake, running on that beautiful drag bunt that was made by but I can't remember who.
Grisham.
But Grisham, beautiful drag bunt.
Forgot how many outs there were.
Forgot that the outs there were. Could have been over it and died. Gave up another run because Luke Weaver was just not fine. His fastball went away from it. But they got the win. Ryan McMahon with the RBI at the end of the game. Again, team could have rolled over and died last night, but they kept on fighting. And I've liked, the new acquisitions are putting in energy into this lineup. Yeah. Who was outside of the dugout last night?
Ahmed Rosario.
Ahmed Rosario seems like an incredible vibes guy. I feel like he's going to be a fan favorite by the end of the season. Like I said, very tough game last night, but they got it done. And then today, Marcus Stroman wasn't great, but the offense was there. I mean, you got to stack up these wins while you can, while Judgy is out, because Judgy's probably going to be DH. Giancarlo's going to heat up, and it's just going to become another roster crunch. So, put Judge under bubble wrap till September. Bring him back for September. Get him ready to hit, and let's ride for the playoffs. But this weekend, the Marlins are winning.
I mean, yeah, that is a huge storyline of when can Judge throw again, because Stanton really can't play anywhere else besides DH. You can't have Stanton in the outfield in the playoffs. Again, I'll preface that with if the Yankees win or if the Yankees make the playoffs. They're now 11 games over 500. They're 3 up in the wild card, 3.5 back of Toronto in the division. This thing is not over. The vibes are kind of back with the team right now. They got a tough next couple series with Miami and on the road against Texas for 3 until they come back home. But the thing with Devin Williams is he's not locating the fastball. And if he's not locating the fastball, he's a one-pitch pitcher. People will sit back and wait on that curveball or the changeup. And that's what Lowe did. Hit that home run, bad pitch, changeup that got too much of the plate. And it just feels like Williams can't rely on that fastball at all right now. And he's not a closer if he's a one-pitch pitcher. And now you got 4 closers in Bednar, Doval, Weaver, and I guess Williams. It's a question of who do they close? Who runs out in the 9th inning for the Yankees now? There are a lot of options. There's only 2 months to decide who's going to be that guy if they make the playoffs, and they got to make a decision. Because I don't really think you want to be rotating a closer in the playoffs. I don't love the idea of rotating closers in general. I kind of like people having clear, defined roles in the bullpen. I just don't think I don't think Williams is the guy if he's not locating the fastball. If he's locating the fastball, sure, he can be that guy. But I don't know. I think the second man up right now would probably be Bednar. Weaver hasn't been himself since he's coming back from the injury. So we'll see. I think that's something to watch though with the team in the last 2 months of the season.
Yeah, big week for them. Vibes are back. Got to win with Judge. I mean, you're very familiar with Yankee injury talk. I don't expect Judge to be back till September.
Wow, September. Yeah. It seems like he wanted to be in the lineup before he got placed on the injured list. It seems like he could have hit. I don't know. He's not going to be playing. I'll say he won't be playing the outfield until September, October, if at all. But I think he's a franchise. The thing with the Yankees this year is they do have talent in the lineup that can kind of cover for him. We've seen it. I mean, they had good offensive game today against Tampa, scored 7 runs. Didn't score, and most of those runs came early, but they can cover him more so than when he got hurt in 2023. That lineup was really bad that year, and obviously the team was not great, so they missed the playoffs that year. But yeah, I'd say DH will return sometime early August. I don't think it'll be the exact 10 days, and then outfield, yeah, that could be September, if at all, this season.
Yeah. Let's talk about the week that was for the majors. Let's run through quickly. We've had the listeners here for an hour and 9 minutes so far. I think some people want to hear what happened around the league in baseball. Let's start local. Miami Marlins, baby. What did I say? What did I say last week on the podcast with the Marlins?
I don't know. You keep saying they're going to win every series. So
they beat the Cardinals. We beat Alden's Cardinals. We went in, took 2 out of 3. We're going to go take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees this weekend, and we're going to march our way closer to San Diego into the 3rd wild card spot. We're coming. Like Deion Sanders says, we're coming. We're not hard to find. We beat the Cardinals 2 out of 3, winning Tuesday 5-0. Sandy Alcantara gave us 5 strong, 4 strikeouts. in his beautiful start. Graham Pauley last night in the 2-0 victory. Did you see that clip I sent you making that insane throw from third base? I know it was a catcher. I know it was Pozo, the catcher, but man, oh man, that is a major league throw. Talk about it.
That was a really good play, ranging to his right. It was like Manny Machado-esque across the diamond, ball floated in the air. And yeah, it was the perfect runner to get out in that situation. If that was like a Victor Scott or something, he would have been safe by a mile. But Paulie hit a home run on Tuesday as well, his first of the season, 5-0 win for them. Good start for Sandy, like you said. His ERA is down to 6.36 on the season, but he has been better of late. Sonny Gray, 3 earned in that game. Marlins got to him. And Andre Palante, got to give him a shout out. Cardinals won that Monday game. He went 7 innings scoreless against the Marlins, only 81 pitches. But Edward Cabrera also had a good start in that game. Mason Wynn went 3-for-4 with 2 doubles. That's another team that didn't really do much at the deadline. Besides trading Helsley, the Cardinals were pretty quiet. And I don't know. I guess both of these teams were pretty quiet at the deadline. Yeah, good series for the Marlins. I'm not looking forward to that series this weekend because it is going to be challenging. They're a good team. They're a good team.
That's right. And where are you coming to play us?
In your trap.
Exactly, which is the hardest place in the majors to play. Love Depot.
Yeah, it's an absolute fortress. They got a club out in left center.
I will be at the club this weekend. It will be a fortress this weekend.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you going? You got tickets? I mean, this is the locked in special here.
I don't have tickets.
Yeah. Oh, come on. You can't talk this game and not go to a game.
I don't have tickets. I don't.
They can't be that expensive.
They're like $100 right now.
No way. I'm checking SeatGeek right now. Go to the next year. I'm checking SeatGeek. There's no way.
They're expensive. I'm telling you right now. We were talking about it at the gym today, and they're like, yeah, the Yankee fans, those snowbirds from New York have come in. The summer birds have taken away the tickets.
All right, dude. Cheapest ticket on SeatGeek, not a sponsor. Absolutely could be. Friday night, $27 to get in. Saturday, $30 to get in, and Sunday, $28 to get in. So I don't know what site you're using, but SeatGeek got them pretty cheap. $100.
Plus, you got to pay parking. Well, I don't sit in the cheap seats.
Oh, come on. Come on. Where we sat at the WBC, they're going for like $60.
Yeah, well, bank account's kind of hurting right now after last week. So
all right, fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. So regardless, Detroit got their get right series this week against Arizona, putting Arizona in a coffin, winning, sweeping them three games to zilch. Tigers won 5-1 on Monday. Troy Melton with the second MLB start, 7 strong, 5 strikeouts, 5 hit. Tigers won on Tuesday, 12-2. Riley Green went 3-for-5 with the little mustache going. It's working for him. And then in Chris Paddock's debut, Tigers got 7-2. Paddock gave him 6 strong, 1 earned, 3 hits, and 5 strikeouts. Very good game for the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah. Had that injury scare with Eugenio Suarez getting hit in the Monday game. Luckily, he was okay for D-backs, for the D-backs' sake. Detroit didn't do a ton at the deadline. We didn't talk about them at all, I don't think. They got Kyle Finnegan, the closer from the Nationals, who's been okay this year. They got Paul Sewald from Cleveland for cash considerations. Rafael Montero from the Braves. Obviously, Paddock and Dobnik in that trade with Minnesota that we talked about earlier. Cody Hewer, a reliever from the Rangers. Got an outfielder that I've never heard of from the Phillies. Joe Sooth, Quinn Hones, and then a couple other pitchers from Baltimore. So they were pretty dormant. Would have loved them to maybe do something besides Paddock. But they got some relievers. Decent deadline for them. Good series, obviously, getting back on track. And, it helps that, the team that's chasing them in the division had players that were potentially throwing games. So I think the Tigers got that thing wrapped up.
And on that note, let's talk about the Cleveland Gamblers this week. The Cleveland Gamblers winning 2 out of 3 this week against the Colorado Rockies. I mean, Monday, as you guys heard, the Rockies won 8-6. Emmanuel Clase is now the second Guardian, not the Gamblers, excuse me. Second Guardian did get popped with an MLB suspension for betting allegations. Very interesting to see where that goes. They're saying that there could be more players involved in this.
Are you serious? I didn't see that report. That actually,
there could be more. So Q Williams rant about sports betting in professional sports. If you want, William will repost that clip probably on social media platforms or probably put it exclusively on TikTok. Guardians were carrying a lead 5-4 going into the ninth, and then Cade Smith gave up 4 in the ninth inning. Guardians won on Tuesday 10-4. Logan Allen gave him 7 strong, 2 earned, 8 hits, 3 strikeouts. Manzardo went bombs 2 in a row, gave him 2 bombs. And then Wednesday on getaway day, Guardians won 5-0. 2-hit games for J-Man and Carlos Santana. Rockies, again, anemic, 3 hits, just like the oxygen. Not much oxygen up there, a mile high.
Yeah, Cleveland, that's another team that didn't do much at the deadline. Traded Sewald and Bieber away, but that was really it. They held on to Quan and held on to Carlos Santana. That was a name that we thought was going to move for sure. But I mean, they're 2.5 back in the wild card, so they could push for a playoff spot. I don't know if they're going to do anything with it this year, but
yeah,
they won a series. They've been playing good baseball. No Clase, he might never play baseball again. That's their lockdown closer. I don't know what I mean, Cade Smith's good, but he blew a game on Monday, so I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, let's talk about the biggest trolls in the Central gave us some good content this week.
It did.
Minnesota Twins were the troll kings of this week. I mean, they had Jhoan Duran on Tuesday give some hugs out, and they're like, no, I haven't been traded, to get traded the next day. Red Sox won 2 out of 3. Monday, the Twins won 5-4. Red Sox were up 4-3, but then there's a 90-minute rain delay. The weather gods wanted to give the Twins a victory before all their players got traded. Tuesday, Boston won 8-5, and then 13-1 on Wednesday for Boston. Brian Bello, fan of the Kayla's favorite on the podcast, Brian Bello, 7 strong, 1 earned, 4 strikeouts. 2-hit games for Roman Anthony, Trevor Story, Romy Gonzalez, Masataka Yoshida, and Connor Wong. Griffin Jacks, again, couldn't get out of it with 3 hits and 3 earned and 0 innings pitched. I mean, they were giving out curtain calls before players were traded, and everybody was confused on the team.
Yeah, that was a weird game for Minnesota. Not much on this series. Good for the Red Sox to get that series win. Good start for Giolito. Story, 2 home runs in the series. He's playing good baseball of late. Chapman had a save on Tuesday night, and Jordan Hicks bad outing. They should have swept here. This was a tough Monday loss for Boston, but they bounced back in the next 2.
Yeah, last night took a L, but they bounced back the next day.
They got this weekend. They're playing Houston in Houston, which could be a really good series.
The Bregman Correa series. So
yeah, that's true. Sorry, it's in Boston, not Houston.
Yeah, but still going to be interesting. Pirates sweep the Giants. I mean, it's going from bad to worse out in San Francisco. San Francisco called up their number 1 pitching prospect, and he gave them 5 innings, 4 earned on Monday, but not good enough. Pirates won 6-5. Andrew McCutchen had a 2-run homer in the 7th, and he is the 11th player in MLB history to have 10-plus home runs in each of his first 17 seasons. David Bednar got him a save. Pirates won on Tuesday, 3-1. Justin Verlander gave 5 innings, 1 earned, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 6 hits. He was floated around at the deadline, but I believe he did have a trade clause, so it kind of makes it complicated for him to get traded at the deadline. At one point, I thought he would have been a Yankee. That would have been a Cashman move, going for an old, wily veteran. And I know that he would have waived that no trade clause to live in New York. And then Wednesday, the Pirates won in 10 innings. Logan Webb gave 5 2/3 with 1 earned and 11 strikeouts. RBI ground out for Henry Davis gave the Pirates the 2-1 lead in the 10th. Thoughts on that?
I mean, getting close to sticking a fork in the Giants, to be honest. They have not been good of late since the second half commenced. Willy Adames has been good in July. 337 average with a 1096 OPS with 7 homers. He's been good this month, but the team just can't score runs. And I don't know, man, that Devers trade. We might look back on that one in 5 years as a disaster for this Giants team. Still, time will tell, but I think they're a game under 500 now and 6 back in the wild card. Like, their season's close to just being over.
Yeah. Seattle and Sacramento. Sacramento taking 2 out of 3. Seattle made all these moves, but can't get these wins out of Sacramento. Sacramento took Tuesday's game 6-1. Brett Rooker and Shea Langeliers went yards. Severino with 5 innings and 1 earned and 6 strikeouts. And then Wednesday, the A's won 5-4. 2-homer night for Miguel Andujar, who was traded to the Reds. Brett Rooker hit a home run 23, and Mason Miller was unavailable despite not being injured last night. It was the beginning of the game last night. Monday, the Mariners won 3-1. Luis Castillo gave them 7 strong, 1 earned, 5 hits, 4 strikeouts. A's called up Luis Morales, their top prospect, coming up for some starting pitching help.
A's 6-4 in their last 10. They've been playing better. They swept Houston for 4, won 2 out of 3 against Seattle. They got the Diamondbacks this weekend at home. 15 games under 500 right now. They're well under 500, but they're playing better baseball in the second half. So that's good to see. They're 5 games under 500 on the road and 10 games under 500 at home. So they play better on the road than they do at home, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. Seattle's got to get these wins rolling. They're in that 3rd wildcard spot right now, tied with Texas, their division rival. And I believe, those two are playing right now. They got a 4-game set this weekend, which will be must-see TV. J-Rod homered in the Wednesday game, but Seattle's got to start to rack up these wins. Seattle's winning 3-0 right now in the 5th against the mighty Rangers. They had a good deadline. Seattle did. So let's see what they do.
But good deadline. Toronto, tough series for Toronto. I mean, the Yankees made up some ground today. Orioles winning 3 out of 4. Orioles winning Monday 11-4. Adley came back. Hasn't played since June 19th. Bo Bichette has recorded a hit in 9 consecutive at-bats, which is a franchise record, but not good enough. In a doubleheader on Tuesday, Orioles won 16-4. Tyler O'Neill with his 4th straight home run in 4 straight games. Then the Orioles tied the MLB record for most sac flies in a game for 5. And then Tuesday, Orioles win 3-2. And then Wednesday, 9-8, Blue Jays win. Tough week for Toronto. Again, is Toronto slipping?
It was a tough series for them. I mean, Baltimore's been playing better. They fire sold everything though, so we'll see what they do the rest of the season. Toronto, Baltimore's only 9 games under 500. There's a world in which they got hot and continue to stay hot with the team they have right now, or the teams they had. That is no longer. We'll see with Toronto. They got Kansas City and then Colorado. So those are 2 winnable series. Then they go on the road against the Dodgers, which will obviously be more challenging. I'm not worried about Toronto yet. I do think that the division could be close for the whole season. Like, I don't necessarily think Toronto's going to run away with it. I kind of feel like they were maybe playing a little bit above where they will net out, and they're playing a little bit above their true talent level. And June, early July, the last month or so, really since May even. So they might come down to earth a little bit. We'll see what happens with them against KC this weekend. Should be an interesting series. But this was a good series for the Orioles. 9 under 500 now. They're playing the Cubs in Chicago this weekend.
Let's talk about Kansas City. The Royals winning 2 out of 3 against the Braves. I mean, the Braves has had the season from hell. Ronald Acuña went with the 10-game IL with an Achilles injury. They're saying it's related to his calf. Thankfully, it's not worse with Mr. Acuña. Braves won 10-7 on Monday. Chris Bubik's out for the season, as we spoke on Sunday night. Acuña hit a nuke, but it's tough. He's out. Salvi got hit in the elbow, but left the game. Royals won 9-6 on Tuesday with Eric Fetty's debut not going so well. 4 2/3, 5 hits, 4 earned, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. And then Wednesday, the Royals won 1-0-10. The bullpen for the Royals only allowed 5 hits and 1 walk and 10 strikeouts. Great game for the Royals. The only run of the game came off a Salvador Perez RBI single. Tough season for Atlanta and Kansas City. I mean, kind of in no man's land right now.
Talk about teams that didn't do anything at the deadline. Atlanta didn't trade any of their pieces. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. Ozuna stayed. He's still there. Albies still there. Like, I saw a tweet that Iglesias still there. Like, I saw a tweet saying that they're like the only public team. They have to report all of their earnings. They might have been worried about the fans just totally shutting off for the second half and not showing up, not buying the merch if they decided to sell. My thing is, like, they're not going to show up anyway. Like, the team's not going anywhere. They stink this season. And it sucks that Acuña's hurt again. Like, I really hope it's not an Achilles like long-term thing with him. Hopefully he can come back shortly. I mean, there's no reason really to rush him back this season because they're not doing anything.
Shut him down, bro. Just shut him down.
Use Uber caution, mega caution for sure.
Shut him down. Just shut him down. Why are we gonna rush him? Why do we need him for next year? Why do we need him this year? Where are they going this year?
Next year they need him. This year they don't.
Let's get some lottery picks. Let's go. Let's win that lottery for next year. That's what they need to do.
He's the kind of guy that's struggled with health. You look at the numbers. I don't want to go into too much detail, but yeah. And on Kansas City, I actually like what they did at the deadline. I know they're kind of middling this season, but they're doing all that they can to surround Bobby Witt Jr. with talent and extending Seth Lugo, bringing in guys at the deadline to try to make the team better. They have a really good pitching staff. They could, in theory, go on a run in the second half and push for a wild card spot. Even if they don't, they have guys now locked up for next season. They have Caglione that is very talented to surround around Bobby Witt. Like they're a small market team that is kind of doing it right by spending a little bit of money in acquiring the pitchers that they have over the past couple off seasons and now this year with the extension with Lugo. And they realize, hey, we have one of the top, 5 to 10 players in the sport, whatever you want to rank them at. We have to do everything we can to surround him with talent to try to win baseball games and set our team up for success in the future. And I respect it. I think every small market team should take this approach. Pirates with Paul Skeens, Reds with Ellie De La Cruz. The Reds did make some moves to try to get better this deadline. So even if the Royals don't make the playoffs this year, even if they don't make a run in the playoffs, if they make it, I still respect what they're doing as an organization this season.
Yeah. Philadelphia Phillies played the Chicago White Sox. Tough series for Philadelphia. White Sox took 2 out of 3. They won the Christopher Sanchez start 6-2 on Monday. Christopher Sanchez allowed his first home run all season to a lefty. First time since April the 6th that Christopher Sanchez allowed more than 2 runs, going 6 2/3, 7 hits, 4 earned, 5 strikeouts. Luis Robert had a homer, and Colson Montgomery with another homer. Phillies won on Thursday, 6-3. Luzardo went 7 strong, 0 earned, 2 hits, and 4 strikeouts.
Tuesday,
excuse me. 37 homers for Kyle Schwarber is the most for a Philly before August 1st in franchise history. He hit a 441 nuke job this game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wednesday, the White Sox win 9-3. Tough series for the White Sox. Very tough for Kyle Schwarber. I think he's in the MVP race with Pete Crow Armstrong. But, oh man, tough series for the Phillies. Yeah,
Colson Montgomery's been a bright spot for the White Sox this season. He's 81 plate appearances, so he's still very fresh at the major league level. But 827 OPS, he's got a 2 outs above average defensively at shortstop. Like White Sox quietly got some young talent. Kyle Teal's there. Edgar Caro's been good. Miguel Vargas has been good. Robert's still there. Talkman's having a good season. We know what they have in the rotation. I don't know. Chicago, maybe a team to watch moving forward. Maybe not next season. They're probably still a couple years away, but they're not completely hopeless like they were last season. So good for them. They got some guys in the farm system that I like as well.
Washington versus Houston. Houston taking 2 out of 3. Houston lost Monday against the Nationals, making it 5 straight losses, losing the Nationals 2-1. Travis Sakura, their top prospect, was announced to get Tommy John surgery. Framber Valdez was great, going 6 strong with 3 hits, 1 earned, 12 strikeouts, but was handed the L. But Tuesday, Astros won 7-4, and Wednesday 9-1 for the Astros. I mean, Astros had themselves a great deadline. Just really tough when they have a lot of injuries. Hopefully, its tides are turning in Houston.
Yeah, we'll see. They got to get healthy. Correa is an interesting addition. Tough season for the Nats, really. And your boy, Ryan Gusto, now Miami Marlins, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts in Wednesday's win. And Mackenzie Gore, maybe the biggest pitching name that didn't get moved at the deadline, 5 1/3, 8 earned runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, 2 homers allowed on Wednesday. Altuve went 4 for 4 in that Wednesday game with a homer.
Yeah, he's now a relief pitcher, Ryan Gusto, for us. He's a relief pitcher. So we'll see how he shapes into our rotation. I don't think we have space for him.
Yeah, you're probably right.
We have a really good rotation. We have an embarrassment of riches. I don't think a lot of Yankee pitchers would make our rotation right now. So
okay. You're talking a big game ahead of this series. We'll see.
Okay. Texas versus the LA Angels. Angels took 2 out of 3. Tough for Texas. I mean, Texas was just getting hot, but the Angels went into buy mode, winning Monday 6-4. There was an unreal error by Gustavo Campanero in the 5th that allowed 2 Rangers to score. He dropped a routine pop-up on accident, looked like, with the bases loaded. But they got the win, 6-4. It doesn't matter at the end. 2 runs didn't matter for them. Angels won 8-5 on Tuesday, and Texas was just rough defensively.
Yeah, they had a bad defensive game. They're a good defensive team. Least amount of errors in the AL, but they had a good rough game on Tuesday defensively.
And then the Angels were hit 4 times. Benches were cleared. And then Rangers won 6-3 on Wednesday. 3-hit game for Marcus Semien. But good solid series for the Angels. They went into buy mode immediately after that. So, I mean, who knows how that front office runs?
Who knows? I guess I respect it for trying. Evaldi, another great start. 7 innings, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. He's got a 1.49 ERA this season. He's been absolutely incredible for the Rangers. They picked up that win. They are losing to the Mariners right now. Kyle Raleigh actually just hit a home run. Guy is incredible. UC Kikuchi, okay start on Tuesday. It was actually an interesting moment at one point in that game. He picked off Wyatt Langford at second base after 2 disengagements. So he had to get him on that pickoff. Otherwise, Langford would have got a free base, got to go to third base, and he picked him off. So I thought that was an impressive play by Kikuchi there. And then, yeah, that drop pop-up in the Monday game by Campero was rough for the Angels. DeGrom, 5 earned runs in the Monday start, which those were the most he's allowed in a game this season.
Let's talk about the Chicago Cubs. Take it away, William.
Cubs, man, they had a rough week. Brewers just own that rivalry, it seems like. Brewers won 2 of 3. Brewers won Monday 8-4, Tuesday 9-3, and then the Cubs did salvage the series on Wednesday with a 10-3 victory. Chronologically, Mizorowski, not great on Monday. 4 innings, 2 earned, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. Matthew Boyd, though, was not good either. 5 innings, 5 earned runs. You had a home run from Yelich, Vaughn, and Frelick. Cubs scored 3 in the first against Mizorowski. He did settle down, and then McGill came in for the save there. They won that game. Tuesday game, Andrew Vaughn hit a huge grand slam in the 6th to make it 9-2 Brewers. That kind of extended their lead. Another tough start from Colin Ray, a guy that, again, Cubs need starting pitching help, and they didn't really do anything to address it except Soroka. PCA dropped a pop-up in center. That was rough. Jackson Churio left the game with a right hamstring spasm. Don't believe he was in the Wednesday lineup. And then Wednesday, Imanaga, 5 innings, 3 earned runs. You had Moises Ballesteros come back up to the majors and had a good game. Homers from Hap, Bush, Contreras, William Contreras, 2-homer game. And then PCA went 3 for 4 on the day with 2 doubles. So Cubs salvaged the series. Those 2 have a 5-game set in the middle of August that I'm going to be going to the Monday game on, the second game of the doubleheader that day. Have not seen the end of these 2 playing this year, but Milwaukee, vibes are good right now in Milwaukee. We'll say that. I know they didn't do a ton at the deadline, but the vibes are higher in Milwaukee than they are in Chicago right now.
Yeah. Mets and the Padres. Padres sweep the 3-game set, winning Monday 7-6 after Robert Suarez blew it in the 9th. Ronnie Mauricio with the homer in the 9th, but walk-off single by Elias Diaz off Gregory Soto. 3-hit game for Xander Bogaerts, who's heating up. Padres win 7-1 on Tuesday. Juan Soto left the game after fouling the ball off of his foot. He was out of the lineup on Wednesday. Jose Budo gave up 5 earned in relief in 1 2/3 for the Mets. And then Wednesday, Yu Darvish went 7 strong with 7 strikeouts and 2 hits as the Padres went 2-0. Clay Holmes, again, struggling. I mean, starting pitching remains a concern for the Mets. Didn't do much in that department this deadline.
That is true. They addressed the bullpen, but didn't really address the starting rotation. They do get swept here. Padres, the Padres might be the most fascinating team to watch the rest of the season, to be honest. Do they make it a race in the West? Be crazy. They got the Cardinals and then Arizona on their schedule. And yeah, Bogaerts is hitting 295 in July, so that's better. And he hit 290 in June too. So he's, playing good ball last couple months. Padres, like I said, they got St. Louis, and then the Mets They are back in New York this weekend for San Francisco for 3 and then Cleveland for 3. So 2 winnable series there for the Mets to kind of bounce back. They are up in the National League East by a half game over the Phillies. So that is a division race that will definitely be watching down the stretch. Fangraphs gives Philly a 51.7% chance to win the division and the Mets a 48.2% chance to win the division. If you had to make a pick right now, who would it be? I think I know where you're going to go. I don't know why I ask.
With who? Oh, you know what my pick. Say it. Say it right now.
You're going Phillies.
100%, bro. Phillies all the way.
Yeah, I think the Phillies win too.
So we'll see what happens. Let's move on and go out to talk about the series in Cincinnati. This was one of my locked in. Cincinnati let me down this week on Tuesday night. They blew the Tuesday game 5-4. They were up. It was just RBI double off Pagan in the ninth. Gave the Dodgers the lead. It was a 4-2 game in the fifth. Tough scene. Monday, Yoshinobu Yamamoto proving why he's in the Cy Young race, going 7 strong, 1 earned, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts, winning to 5-2. Scary scene out in LA. I don't know if you heard what happened at his LA home. They tried again. They're trying to burglars and people who need to do better in life tried to rob his house, but thankfully none of his valuables were stolen. And then Wednesday, Reds won 5-2. Ohtani left with cramps after throwing 6 straight balls in the 3rd inning. Again, tough series for the Reds because Tuesday was a very winnable game, and they just let it get away. So,
yeah, they got to Glasnow, 4 earned over 4 innings pitched, but Will Smith, huge RBI double in the 9th. That gave the Dodgers a 5-4 lead. Reds were up 4-2 in the 5th in this one. Freddie Freeman had a timely RBI here as well, 3 for 5 in that game. And then Alex Vesia came in for the save. He's been really good this month. Chase Burns, 5 2/3, 3 earned in the Monday start. Blake Trinan, 2 earned runs in his first appearance since April 13th. Jack Dreyer came in and finished off the game for him. They salvaged the series. Could have been a series win for the Reds. I still like what the Reds did at the trade deadline. They showed some signs of effort, so I respect it. They're 5 over 500 right now with Atlanta for 3 this weekend, and then on the road against the Cubs in Chicago after that. So team to watch too. And yeah, got my eyes a little bit more on the Dodgers right now. They have been not playing the best.
Yeah. And that wraps it up for this week. We'll be back this weekend after the conclusion of the Marlins Yankees series. The Locked In Battle, Locked In Sports Podcast battle this year.
It is. Yeah, it is. I'll be traveling next week, so I'll be recording from the beach, which will be nice. And probably do Monday. This week. Yeah, Monday.
So we'll be doing Monday. I mean, I will be leading the podcast on Monday, so be ready, guys. Locked In Sports.
If the Marlins win, yes. If the Marlins win,
when they win.
When okay, and they've won like 5 series in a row, right?
You'll see. We're 9-1-1. You'll see how Clayton McCullough has this play.
All right. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We're up to 113 subscribers on YouTube, trying to get to 150 by the end of the season. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Locked In Sports Pod is where you can find us there. Hope you enjoyed this episode. This was a long one. We had to push the team of the month from July to Sunday or Monday when we do our next episode, just because we had too much to get to today. So trade deadline was an A+. I hope you guys thought this podcast was an A+ as well. Luis, got any final words before we get out of here? It is now 11:30 Eastern time for you.
Keep it locked.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks as always for my good friend over there, Luis Barranco. I'm William Locke. We'll be back on Monday to talk about the weekend of baseball. Until then, catch you next time. Peace out.